In a globalized world where communication is at your fingertips, people often wonder whether the function of the media in informing the public has been nullified. But we are here to tell you that we inform the masses of what is in between the lines. We magnify the fine print, and that is what we aim to do in this program. I'm Nasma Abdul Mohsin, and this is The Fourth Estate. Tonight our guest is Mr. Andrew Healy, CEO and Managing Director of Bank of Maldives. Before joining BML at the beginning of the year, he worked for 18 years at executive levels in 2 international banking groups, including at both CEO and board level. He has experience of banking in more than 10 countries and is a former chairman of the Northern Ireland Banking Association and also a former president of the Institute of Banking in Ireland. Mr. Andrew Healy, welcome to the program. Well, BML recently held its AGM where Andrew set out his assessment of the bank's current position and his vision for the bank's future. Let's take a look at some footage.
I've been with Bank of Maldives for a full 4 months now, and during that time I've been fortunate enough to have met many of you. Some of you have been reasonably positive about the bank's progress. Others certainly feel there's more we need to do, and particularly around customer service and fee charges and so on. Some of that we've already heard tonight. I suppose I'd like to share with you my assessment of the bank's performance and challenges. I'd also like to share the vision which I and the bank's board have for the future of Bank of Maldives and the specific actions we're taking to achieve that vision. Now, looking at the past few years, the bank has had quite a tough time, actually. Like many banks around the world, our loan book took quite a hit during the latter part of the last decade. And yes, some lending decisions were made which were not entirely appropriate. And sorting out this hugely problematic loan book has rightly, in my view, been the focus of the bank's board and management over recent years. And while some aspects of the business may not have received the attention we would have liked, my assessment is that a good job has been done in sorting out the loan book and in putting the bank in a strong position for the future.
Andrew, you talk in that video clip about your assessment of the bank since you took charge. How is the bank doing now? What have you found?
My view is that Bank of Maldives is a good bank. It has had some tough times, as was said in the video clip there. Much of the past 5 years has been spent wrestling with the bank's loan book and trying to come out the other side of that. I think the bank has come out the other side. It's moving forward with greater confidence now. We can look to the future to a greater extent, and the bank made a reasonably healthy profit last year. So I think that's positive. There's some good people in the bank, people who work very hard, in my view. There's very good technology, very modern technology in terms of branches, point of sale, online banking, ATMs and so on. The strong corporate governance in the bank to make sure we don't lose the run of ourselves. So we have plenty more to do in the bank. I talked about that at the AGM, but the bank is facing in the right direction in my view.
Well, what is the current financial position of BML?
As I mentioned, the last few years have been spent wrestling with the bank's loan book and trying to sort out some historical bad debt issues. A very good job has been done in that regard, in my view. There's been good progress made in terms of loan recoveries. Last year, the bank's loan recoveries were 5 times what they were in 2011. And that meant that the bank came out with a reasonably healthy profit of 662 million rupiah in 2013. Out of that profit, we were able to pay a good dividend to shareholders. Last year's dividend was 15 rupiah per share, a total payout of more than 80 million rupiah, which is a record dividend for the bank in terms of its history, and it's our first dividend since 2008. So that's quite positive. In terms of financial performance, as I say, a big part of the improvement has been the way that the bank has progressively dealt with its loan book in a very positive way, and loan recoveries have steadily increased. We can't, of course, always rely on loan recoveries to drive the bank's profitability, and we have to have good underlying earnings. If we strip out the bank's loan recoveries, our earnings come down to below 300 million rupiah, which is fine, but I'd probably like to see that figure grow a little bit if we're to be able to sustain our investment in, for example, financial inclusion, and if we're to be able to withstand the sort of inevitable shocks that come along to test every bank's resilience. So we do need to grow earnings a little bit. Our loan book is a little bit too stagnant in my view. It's not really growing at any rate, and I'd like to see it grow. It might surprise some people, but we do want to lend. We're open for business, and I think that's reasonably good news.
So let's see some more footage from your address to the AGM.
Now, of course, while these numbers show we're heading in the right direction, we know we've a lot more to do. We know we've plenty of room for improvement. We know we can reach out more to the people of this country. We can provide a greater level of support for small and large businesses. We can give better customer service. So our focus going forward will be on three areas, which will be the key pillars upon which the bank's strategy will be based. And these pillars are financial inclusion, customer service, and support for business. Now, let me first talk about financial inclusion. There's no doubt that as the National Bank we have a duty to reach out and provide banking services to every single person in this country. Not just those living in the capital, not just those within easy reach of a bank branch, not just those who have an ATM on their doorstep. We must reach the fisherman in Lamu Mava, the pensioner in Taho Madu, the mother in Ramidu. I do think, though, it's important firstly to say that the bank is already doing quite a lot in terms of financial inclusion. We have a large branch ATM and point-of-sale network. Our Doni banking service makes over 2,000 visits a year to inhabited islands that would otherwise be deprived of face-to-face banking facilities. And as part of our Doni service, we make over 16,000 pension payments a year to senior citizens who otherwise would have difficulty in accessing their pension money. The bank is also playing its part in developing the future minds of the nation by administering the National Student Loan Scheme. We're supporting SME development both directly and through various government and international funding schemes. The US dollar liquidity situation, of course, in the country poses challenges for a number of people, and we're doing a lot to provide dollars where they're needed. Last year we provided over $100 million to our customers, including cash and including significant sums for medical and education purposes. We support, through sponsorship and otherwise, community activities such as Fisherman's Day celebrations and the events held to mark International Anti-Corruption Day. But we know we need to do more to reach out truly to all the people of this country, and we're committed doing this.
You talked there about financial inclusion. You're going to give more banking services in the islands?
Yes, as I said there's no doubt that as the National Bank we have a duty to reach out and provide banking services to every individual in the country, not just those in Mali, not just those within easy reach of a bank branch or an ATM. We've got to reach out to the islands that enjoy no banking facilities today. There's over 170 islands today that, aside from our once a month Doni service, have no real access to proper banking facilities, and we're going to change that. By the end of this year, by Fisherman's Day, in fact, on the 10th of December, we will be providing banking services to 50 islands that have no access to banking facilities today. Those islands will be able to, the inhabitants of those islands will be able to withdraw cash from our bank at that stage. And we'll go much further than that. By 2017, all inhabited islands will have access to banking services. Starting next year, we'll be rolling out banking services beyond those 50 that I've mentioned, and we'll be extending the services beyond pure cash withdrawal services to cash deposit, to account transfer and to payment services.
Well, this sounds very positive, but how will you provide these services to the islands?
Well, in some ways, it's really an extension of our Donny service, except that it will be available every day. The model is quite simple, really. We'll establish a partnership with a local retailer or a local party such as the council. It might be STO, it might be another retailer. What we'll do is we'll provide our card machines and some cash to that retailer, and our customers will be able to go in and withdraw cash simply using their bank cards. As I say, initially the service will be limited to cash withdrawals, but from next year we'll extend it to other services such as cash deposits, account transfers and payment services. So we'll start with 50 islands this year, and we'll extend to all islands by 2017. And we think this is really positive news in terms of financial inclusion across the country. We believe these services will truly change the lives of people and will truly change the lives of communities.
We recently removed some bank charges. Why did you do this? Where's the catch?
There's no catch. A few weeks ago we announced that we will no longer charge our customers for using our ATMs. BML customers now have access to free cash withdrawals at any BML ATM right the way across the country. We believe it's the right thing to take that charge away. We believe that our ATMs are a good alternative to people having to queue up in branches. We've been investing in our ATMs, in rolling out new ATMs and in improving the services that are available through our ATMs, and we want people to see that they are a convenient alternative to spending so much time in our branch network. We also announced that we will no longer charge customers for inter-branch transfers, for sending money from one part of the country to another through our network of branches. We were charging previously anywhere between 25 rupiah and 3,000 rupiah for that service, depending on the amount that was being transferred. It's been very well received by customers, the fact that we've now done away with this charge. And I suppose the removal of these charges demonstrates our commitment to providing inclusive banking services across the country. People will no longer have to pay for using our ATMs. People will no longer have to pay for transferring money to their family members on other islands.
Well, we're now going to see some footage on what you had to say on customer service during your AGM.
Now let me turn now to customer service. This is a subject I know have strong views on. I've said that the bank's focus over the past few years has rightly been on its loan book, but the unfortunate impact of that, we must admit, has been that customer service hasn't received the attention that our customers deserve. Queues in branches have been too long. Bank guarantees haven't been provided on time. We haven't invested enough in staff training. Now, one of the reasons for our customer service challenges is our growth in customer numbers. It is, of course, positive to see a trend where almost every family in this country now has at least one account with our bank. Today we have close to 250,000 customers, 250,000 customers, which is a 50% increase since 2008. But as this growth has occurred, our service simply hasn't kept pace. Some of the concerns you've shared with us include too many unmanned counters at branches, queues are too long and too slow, response times in our call centre are not fast enough, It's not clear where you should go for particular services or if you want to complain. Staff are impersonal at times and don't smile enough. You've experienced problems with internet banking.
So you've said there that BML needs to do more on customer service. It seems that a lot of people feel that BML services are not good enough.
Yes. Firstly, there are two main reasons why our service hasn't received enough attention over the past few years. The first one is that much of the bank's focus, as I said earlier on, has been on our loan book. I think that's probably appropriate given the scale of the problems that we faced in that area, and as I've said, we've hopefully come out the other side from that, but that deflected away from our focus on customer service. Another reason is that the bank has seen huge growth in the number of customers coming through its doors. Over the past 5 years, 75,000 additional customers have come through the doors of Bank of Maldives, which is good in lots of ways, I suppose, but on the other hand, the key point is that our service standards haven't kept up with the pace of that growth. And what we've seen is our customers telling us very strongly that queues in branches are too long, that response times in our call centre are far too long also. We can see that we haven't invested enough in staff training. Loan applications take too long to turn around. So now we've got to address all of these things.
So what are you doing to address the bank's service standards?
Well, firstly, we've got to put more staff on the counter. We've got to put more people out there. By September of this year, we're recruiting at the moment. By September of this year, we'll have 20% more people on our branch counters than was the case this time last year. So that's a start. We're also recruiting more resources for our call centre. We're changing our branch model to separate cash services from other services. And we're also introducing the concept of floor managers, someone who'll be out on the floor of the branch, helping customers, keeping the queue moving, talking to customers about the services that they're in for, perhaps establishing if the customer actually needs to be in the queue in the first place. You know, can that service be provided in another way? Can it be provided through an ATM or through online banking? Can we direct them to the right place within the branch? We've also got to invest in staff training. We've had more than 5,000 staff training days this year. That's a good start, but there's a lot more staff training needed. We've been improving our internet banking service. The feedback is certainly a lot better there. And we're rolling out more ATMs with deposit taking as well as cash dispensing capability. And I suppose part of the secret here is not just to improve our service within our branches, it's to convince our customers that maybe they don't need to come into our branches in the first place because we've got good ATMs, because we've got good online and internet banking services.
Well, let's have a look at one last short piece of footage from your address to shareholders.
I've talked about financial inclusion and customer service. One of the additional issues that is raised with me from time to time is that BML is not focused enough on helping business. That aside from the government schemes we support, we don't give enough support to start-up, to micro, to small and medium-sized businesses. We'd like to change this perception.
You mentioned support for business there. Is BML doing enough in this area?
Well, certainly there seems to be a perception out there that we're not doing enough for business, that aside from the government schemes that we support and operate, that we don't do enough to help start up small, medium and large businesses, and we'd certainly like to change that perception. We've started to recruit dedicated relationship managers, business banking managers who will work directly with our customers. By the end of next month, every business customer will have a dedicated business banking relationship manager. If you're a business customer, that'll be someone who understands you, who understands your business, who understands your industry sector, someone you can go and talk to if you have a problem or a query, someone that will help you if you need it with a loan application. So that will help. We're also introducing dedicated business counters within our branches. From next month, we'll have a bulk cash handling facility in our headquarters, in our main building. We're also introducing same-day guarantees, same-day bank guarantees for our business customers. That's been a big issue for many business customers. So we're doing everything we can to try and convince people that we do want to help in terms of the business banking services that we provide. Also, of course, our plan is to introduce Islamic banking services this year, and in due course they will extend also to business customers.
We were speaking about Islamic banking services that the bank is going to offer. So when will these services be available?
Before the end of the year. MMA has granted the bank a permit to operate an Islamic banking window within our existing branch network. Our Sharia committee is in place, and we're working hard to put the necessary technology in place so that we can launch our first Islamic product before the end of the year.
So, in addition to supporting small businesses, you plan to expand services to large corporate customers as well. What is being done to address their needs?
Well, we already have in place dedicated relationship managers for corporate customers. We're expanding our corporate team. We're recruiting a new director of corporate banking. We're starting to become more proactive in terms of bundling the services that we provide to corporate customers. So providing packaged solutions in terms of lending, cards, letters of credit and other corporate services. We've also made it clear to government that we'd like to support their strategic projects in terms of the likes of iHaven, in terms of the likes of Healy Phase 2 development. We believe we have the expertise within the bank to support inward investment from other countries, to provide investment banking services, the likes of loan syndications and other services to support these large and very important strategic projects.
Well, finally, going back to your vision, is it true that you've said that the bank will expand internationally?
Well, that's not quite what we've said. What we've said is that this is a good bank. Certainly I've said that this is a good bank in my view. It's a bank that has sensibly tackled its loan problems. The bank is no longer looking over its shoulder, if you like, at historical issues. The bank has forward momentum now. We can look forward to the future with a certain degree of confidence. But I've also said that we have a lot of work to do. We have to improve our customer service. We have to do more on financial inclusion. We have to do more in terms of the support we provide for business. What I've said and what the bank's board has said is that if we can address these areas successfully, if we can continue to grow strongly, we're doing okay at the moment, we believe we can grow at a faster rate. If we can do these things, we will hopefully have earned the right to look towards further expansion. And a natural element of that further expansion would be to look beyond these shores, to look at expanding into other countries. But we have to earn that right first. I think it's important though to say that from my perspective, I think the bank is in reasonably good shape and I'm very positive about the future.
Well, thank you for being here with us, and it has been indeed interesting and enlightening to hear about the new services that the bank has to offer, and we wish you all the best, you personally and for the bank in future endeavours. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you.
Well, this is Nasma Abdul Mohsin signing off, hoping to meet you again next week to discuss yet another issue of equal importance. Thank you for watching. Have a very good night.